That's
what I do. I want to just like so many good things. If I can to like you're good. Look out for and free, right? So I would look at that for a couple hours. That's something we would have to get inside. So nice. If somebody went to the mother's shop. I would say on my bags for wine list. Tag the bag. Sunday, 21st. 20 for the 19th, 25. Yeah, right.
all right, and I'm coming in right now. I'm coming in right now. You let me in and make me co-host.
No, it's not the same place.
Yeah.
I remember where it is.
That was a hell of an introduction.
Good to see you, Bob. We met
You
before.
hate on things like that. I'm pulling the leg.
No, I
I'm pulling the leg.
don't like it when people mess with the building.
I didn't mess with them.
No, I know. Somebody else did.
What they did.
Left that piece of stone there at the front entrance to the church. Unlocked the door without permission. No, it had nothing to do with you. I didn't even know you were there.
Oh, Kelly.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that guy?
No, sorry.
They love you.
Yeah,
You miss me. That's the good thing.
yeah,
You
no.
gotta have a sense of humor, right? I'll leave it.
No, you're good. You're good. I'm embarrassed. That's all.
No. I have a thing. Yeah, that's okay. I tried to listen to the last meeting.
Yeah,
Fine.
didn't work well.
Have you had other people listen and comment on?
No, it hadn't. But that's helpful to know.
Because I wanted, it was interested in the development. Oh,
Yes, indeed. Hey, Ann, with your PowerPoint, just make sure that you're sharing it full screen and not just sharing your not just sharing the
Yeah.
show the slide.
Yeah. I'm taking upstairs working.
That's exciting. Nice. It's got it out.
It's not.
I rode out of town. I gotta come.
He's out of town.
About our college, 3 kids.
What's he watching?
Wow.
Yeah.
Probably like enthusiasm. I'm like, I want to bottle it.
I know, he's so around.
He's so cute.
So.
Just a little information. I feel like it's darling every on that. You did. Do it. You need position to be like, who's side of the ring in the lot, but I mean, like.
All right, everyone, let's get started. It's 7 o'clock and I think we're still going to filter in. We've got people online. So I think we'll get started. First off, I want to welcome any new residents, any newbies in the neighborhood. Want to say hi? Introduce
Hi,
yourselves?
so we're new to the Highlandtown area. Like 300 block. So yeah, my name is Marisol.
I'm Kyle.
So we just bought our first.
Nice to meet you. Lovely residents.
And I'm Bob Marcus. I've been in Highlandtown for 30+ years.
Yeah, I
And
guess.
it's 306 South Highland. I haven't been coming to that many meetings, but I should.
I see the dock on the street, so it feels like an old neighbor, but I guess you're not a regular here, so,
If you see anybody picking up papers in front of 306, it's me.
yeah. And you?
My name's Alex. I've lived here since 2016. This is my first meeting. I didn't know about the organization until about a month ago. And I lived in the 3600 block of Pratt.
Okay, welcome. Crowd tonight is a little big. There are a few people online, maybe more people join us online. You can always access this meeting at www.highlandtown.com. We meet September through June. We take July off, so we have one more meeting this cycle. The link on the website is current for the whole year from September to June. So that link is always good. So you never have to wonder where you have gone, just go to the website. You'll find it right there. Same thing for a lot of other things. The website can be a real resource. And John Eddie, who manages the site, is online with us right now. So we can take a few questions on that or get some updates from him as well. The video for this meeting is also saved online. So if you want to go back and look at anything that's happened in the past, you can always do that as well. So easy enough to do that. Budget things. Do you, Sarah, do you have any budget reports short of the grant money that's in there? I don't want to.
I can tell you, what grant money or overall account balance.
Well, preferably would be without the grant money because the grant money is spoken for.
The HCA, currently is only approximately $52,000 of grant money.
Okay.
About that.
Um,
Grant money.
Yeah, there's a lot of grant money in there right now. And if anybody, if new residents, anybody online, if anybody has projects or something that they want to do, there's multiple ways to do it. We as an association have some money. There's a link online where you can go to the website and, submit something, some funding, commercial funding, or some help from the association. There's also some resources to get the grant money there. We try to plug grant opportunities there when we can. We can help sponsor with grants, we can help write some grants. Sharon has some experience with that, and Kat, who just walked in, is just a grant writing machine of late. So, you know, there's big grants, there's little grants. If you have something that you'd like to do with your block, beautification project, even a block party, it's anything that brings people together. We like those kind of things. We prefer the block parties be tied to a project, cleaning project, or a, you know, tree pit, surround building project, or anything of the sort. But we have, you know, this is community association money, and we have it looking forward to projects within the neighborhood. Sharon, or and going to the rules of the game slide, that's fairly new. You'll see on the screen, there's a bunch of slides that we put up on the screen that just kind of stay there, but some of them are fairly new, and I'm trying to drive this from home. We just have some kind of norms of engagement for, you know, things to do. We don't often have things that are controversial, but every now and then we have something. There are times. So that's something, and got. I see that thing every time I put it together, and I forget what's current, what's not. So there's the 988 number is for, it's a mental health crisis hotline. It is designed, I think, mostly for people who find themselves in a mental health crisis. But if you find, you know, a family member or a neighbor or somebody else experiencing something, 988 is the number to call. It's better to call when you have a feel for somebody being in a mental health crisis. It's better to call 988 than 911, because 911 will often generate an alarm response, and that just kind of escalates things, and we don't want to escalate things. So what else do we have? When you go to the slide about Goff Street, I know a lot of people are still asking about this. This is property at the second to last block when you go down Goff Street. At the corner, and Uppenberg Bakery is moving in there, and they have a target date of being in there in May or June, and it's certainly not going to be May at this point. Because the sidewalks are torn up now, they're replacing all sidewalks, so I think they can move in now. We had to. There's 4 tenants going in there. A lot of people have been asking about it, and it's, you know, bringing some real investment to that side of the neighborhood, and it's also bringing the best everything bagel you will ever taste to Highlandtown. So that's a bonus all the way around. One of the topics of discussion of late has been Baltimore Gas and Electric is upgrading their gas delivery systems from a, if I understand this right, I really don't, but it's going from a low pressure system to a high pressure system, and in the process of doing it, they have to replace the hardware that goes into the homes. They are currently doing the installation in the Fells Point area, and people in Fells Point got pretty riled up about, because they're putting in a big regulator right in front of your house, and it's not necessarily very attractive. You're allowed to paint it if need be, plants in front of it, you can do some things. It's not very attractive, and people got a little upset about the lack of communication for BGE about it. More specifically, a lot of people have been concerned about the safety of it, because if a car runs off the road, we know that the distance from the curb to the house is with the sidewalk, and if it gets run into, you know, what happens. And I don't know. I'd like to think that there's a safety shutoff valve in there that, you know, if it starts blowing too much, and we shut it off, and, you know, for disaster. But nevertheless, the Fells Point community started a petition which can be found at our website, www.highlandtown.com. You can sign a petition there. I do have some information up here about it. If you want a handout for that, I just printed out a few for people who don't have access to the internet and want to learn a little bit more about it. I also printed an article that came from Baltimore Fishbowl publication, and they put out a fairly lengthy article about it. The Fells Point community is holding a meeting tonight, right now, to discuss it. I don't know what the stage of the whole thing is because they really haven't communicated very well, but Maggie Master from Councilman Cohen's office running this meeting, she report back to me tomorrow or the next day. Details from that. So there'll be something there. But if you want to sign a petition, that can be found on the website, and I would encourage everybody to do so and ask questions like, what are our options here? Apparently one time they were going to be installing the meters on the inside of the home, and they would be vented to the outside of the home. There are some pictures on this one handout here that can detail that, and I can email it to anybody who would like a copy of what I printed here to learn a little bit, to learn what I know, which frankly isn't very much. But you can kind of stay clued in on it. If you want to email me about that, it would be Highlandtown21224@gmail. That's Highlandtown, our zip code at gmail.com. And just put BGE gas regulators or petition or something in the headers so that it's easy for me to find if I have to back for it. And I can get some information out to you on that. So, I encourage them to do whatever they have to do to upgrade, and just like a little better communication. And I'd like to know about the safety issues as well. So I think it's important for us to stay on top of. So I don't have anything else tonight from what I've got here. So I'll open it up to the board to see if any board members have anything that they want to offer. Kat, do you have anything about?
Yeah.
Thank you.
This is an update on the pedestrian safety art crosswalks. I actually sent a message to board members, so that'll be in your inbox tonight. But I think the city of Baltimore is planning to apply to a grant by Bloomberg Philanthropies around asphalt art. So the city is asking nonprofits, community associations like us to apply to them to see which pilot project they're going to include in their application to Bloomberg Philanthropies. Only cities can apply to the Bloomberg Philanthropies grant, and they can only apply for one project. So this came to my attention because Graham Projects, who we're working with on the Eastern and Elwood Avenue mural installation, I guess thinks we have a shot. So so board members have that in your inbox to have a look at, and just FYI for others, that would be a way to fund the rest of the Eastern and Elwood mural, and then I think it'd be enough money for installation of a mural in a brand new intersection. So more pedestrian safety in Highlandtown. Thanks.
Thanks, Ken. Actually, it did occur to me, I've got my events list at a different spot on my sheet here. And would you rotate to the Highlandtown Wine Festival first? So the Highlandtown Wine Festival, for those who are new or uninitiated, is a big fundraiser event in the neighborhood. We have not had it since pre-COVID, so it's the first time back. It's been we're a little bit behind the eight ball. In fact, I think it was normally would be earlier in May or the end of April even. So we had to put it to the end of May simply because the organizers, myself and the people have been doing it for years, just kind of didn't get in front of it at the time because it's been off the calendar for since pre-COVID. But it is a really fun event. I mean, it's unlike any wine festival you've ever been to. For one, it's homemade wine. So it's it all started, it goes back to a tradition this was a very Italian neighborhood, and there were a lot of people that made homemade wine, and Di Pasquale's Italian grocery, which is now in Canton, used to be down the street on Gough Street. And Joe Di Pasquale helped organize this event and brought the winemakers together, and there would be a judging usually the week before, and then wine samples would be poured at the event. There will also be beer vendors, food vendors, arts and crafts vendors, lots of things to do. And it's, like I said, it's unlike anyone most of you've ever been to before, in that some of the wine's okay. You know, it's only wine, so be the judge for yourself. But it's a lot of fun, and I, encourage everybody to come out for that and invite their friends. And I always pitch this as it's really something that it exposes our neighborhood to people from other parts of the city and that kind of thing. And these events do bring us good press, good feet on the street for our this event and for other things. And I know of at least 2 families who have bought homes in the neighborhood after being to events in the neighborhood and said, hey, this is really cool, we like it here, and come back to become residents. So it's and it's also our biggest fundraiser. So as an association, it supports us in multiple ways, and it's just a lot of fun. So bring your friends. We are still looking for some volunteers because several of our regular volunteers can't make it this year because they have a conflict. And when I say several, I mean 6 people-ish. Like 8 people who are normally volunteers for this event are all out of town for a wedding this weekend. So we're still scratching around for some volunteers. If anybody wants to join that, it does get you free admission to the event, and we're looking for people for set up in the early afternoon. The event kicks off at 1 o'clock, so we're looking for people 11 to 12 to 1 to kind of help get things set up. There is a big stage to set up, and there's some tables to get out and do some other things. We're also looking for people to man the front gate and check tickets, and for people to pour wine samples. And there's going to be 2 shifts for that. One from first shift will be from 1 to 3, and second shift will be from 3 to 5. And we're looking for some people to plug into that, and then we're hoping that some people will stick around and help break down at the end of it. So it's a lot of fun, and it's a good way to be involved, and it's a good way to work with the other people in the neighborhood and make some new friends. So that's a lot of fun. And we do ship to Blockenstein. There we go. Blockenstein is a monster yard sale. It takes place on Bank Street between East Avenue and Elwood Avenue. So it's 2 blocks long. I believe the tables were all taken, but still a great opportunity to come and buy somebody else's one man's trash is another man's treasure, and there's always really cool things there, and occasional celebrity sightings as well. So that's always fun. And AMVETS brings a truck at the end of the day, and if you don't sell things and you do not want to bring it back into your house, you can donate them to AMVETS. They go for good cause, and you're cleaning out of the basement. Will you're not hauling the stuff back. So the only thing you need to bring back is the things that you bought. So hopefully you buy it. That takes place from 8 till 1 on Saturday, June 3rd. That's 3 weeks out. Yeah, also a really good time. So that's it for Blockenstein. So again, I'll open it up to the board. Anybody on the board have anything to offer? No. All right. Lastly, for the newbies.
Hey, Brian,
Yeah.
I just, for Blockenstein, we did set, all the tables are reserved, or we don't have tables, we have spots. We opened up 5 more just because they've been so popular and we found some space. But what's happening now is we're trying to attract people to come out and buy stuff. So Kat's going to start throwing stuff out there on social media. If you see something, please like it. Please make a comment, please share, subscribe, whatever you can do. Because that'll help us get people out and keep that in front of their faces. All right, so thanks a lot.
Got it. Thanks, John. So yeah, no tables, but lots of opportunities. So come out, bring your friends, because again, it also showcases the neighborhood in a really great way. So. Anybody else from the board have anything? Anything to offer from the floor? Anyone at all? Go ahead.
So we, as we mentioned before, Kyle and I have recently bought our home, at 302 South Highland. So we signed, May 1st, actually, so about 13, 14 days ago. And, our neighbor, Dr. Robert, he informed us that there's some construction going on right across the alley from our newly purchased home. So apparently, it's all, the property's 3303 Goth Street. And it's, I believe there's gonna be 3 apartments being built. And there would be, right now, we have a 2nd floor and we can see the harbor, we can see Patterson Park. And if this were to be constructed, it would be 3 stories tall and you would see a brick wall. So it's our first meeting and we went outside and we saw that the permit paper, it said May 2nd. So it was the next day after we had signed off on our house. I don't really know what to say. It's like I said, it's our first meeting, but I would really appreciate, Kyle and I would really appreciate the support. We will be taking this to Baltimore City. I don't think it's fair that we would have to see a brick wall from outside of our home, outside of our window, especially because we had, plans to build a rooftop deck. And if that were to happen, we'd have to build 2 stories of, home to be able to go over this project that they're planning on building. On top of the 3 stories that they're planning on building, they are trying to add a rooftop deck. So that would honestly, cover our home. It doesn't just cover our home, it covers 3 homes. And I believe it devalues our property right now because we purchased it. We can see, like I said, the harbor, we can see the park. And, for better lack of word, it's unfair that we would have to just see a brick wall. So like I said, both Kyle and I, we will be going to, I believe they have a meeting in a few days. But we did obtain these papers from the person who's trying to get the permit. And, they did mention that they will not be, that this doesn't affect neighboring properties, but I believe it does affect our home and the value of our property, especially since we were never informed, obviously by the seller. We weren't informed by our agent that this was going on, and it's kind of a surprise, especially because it happens the next day. So we just wanted to let, everyone know, and if anyone can support us, that would be awesome.
I don't really have any advice to offer, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I do sympathize, and it is going all the way to the edge of the property on both sides. And that was part of the developers' reason to come to us, was not because of the height, but because of the width,
Yeah.
because they're going right to the edges of the property, and there are rules against that, but in this neighborhood, in a row house neighborhood, precedent is going to set, obviously.
Well, you're right, just that the height side of it, I think in the R8 is 45 feet. I mean, it's a 3-story tall building by right, height wise. As you say, the width was the variance I think they were looking for.
Yeah.
But they came to us 2 meeting,
Last meeting, was it last meeting? Okay.
yeah, I think didn't they come to 2 meetings in a row?
Might have,
They might have come.
yeah, I mean, he presented to us, but. I don't feel like it was last month. I feel like he presented the month before. I don't know. It's a blur now, but he did come to us for the width, but not the height, because the height was already allowed by the zoning in the area. So. if
Yeah,
They didn't have the offsets, then he's looking at a building that's 10 feet wide.
I understand.
You know. I sympathize, but I don't have a lot of. I don't have a lot of advice to offer.
Yeah, I mean, we will try our hardest.
Yes.
Like I said, it's our first home. We didn't really know it was going on. So, it not only would it devalue, but it's no one wants to wake up and see a brick wall.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try. I understand like the developer. I know it brings money, it brings new people, but it affects the other communities that. You know, I grew up in Highlandtown, so, and I bought my first home in Highlandtown, so it really, we'll try.
Yeah,
That's all I can.
and
yeah.
let us know how it goes.
Yeah,
I'm
of
not
course.
sure what we can do to help. I mean, look at anything because we want you to be cared for as well, but you might have some recourse from the property owner or realtor, because I think it's incumbent on them to fully dispose of it.
Yeah.
So, whether that gets into the city or not, I'm gonna doubt, but I would try, I would prepare for all angles.
The May 2nd meeting you mentioned was the
Hearing.
the hearing with Board of Municipal Zoning Appeals, right?
I believe so. It was written on the property.
Yeah, in the information you pulled, did you get the outcome of that? Was that?
No, I've been trying to get it. I've called zoning several times. And I can't, I'm having to go down there in person, I'm afraid. Park in the garage and go through the whole thing. They're impossible to deal with over the phone. You call them and you play telephone tag, the zoning.
I can probably help you get that information faster.
You can,
Yeah, I suspect.
because I know you wrote a letter of approval, did you not?
I wrote a letter of support, yeah.
Supporting it, yeah. I don't think you knew what the consequences were for the people in the community. How would you like to have somebody build a 3-story building next to your place and you had a beautiful view, and lo and behold, the view was gone?
Sure, yeah, no,
Nobody would-
right. I mean, the community association, the whole wrote a letter of support. I wrote a letter of support. Yeah. But Martin,
Were you aware of the consequences when you wrote the letter?
the height of the building?
Everything.
Yeah, I mean, the whole, they
No, I
came
mean,
in and
what it
presented
would
to
do
us.
Specifically, these people, not, I'm just cut off by the building, so it doesn't, it overlapped, their building overlapped my building by 2 or 3 feet. So it doesn't affect me that much, but it's 2 and 4. In other words, 302 and 302 here and 304 are affected.
Yeah, I mean, that wasn't part of the conversation that we had here. No.
That's
Yeah, I don't know what the notification requirements are. I mean, I know one of the things that they do is they put off that poster with that reference to the hearing dates, such on it, because it is incumbent on the city to do that, but that can't possibly be the only thing that they're required to do. But, you know, they have to go and knock on the door, they have to put some, you know, specifically reach out to the property owners, and I don't know. And then the complicating factor is that you just bought. To some extent, it is the property owner's responsibility to stay attuned to what's going on around, because, you know, things do get lost in the mail and some things, and that's also why they put the poster. So,
I do know if it's approved, one has 10 days to file an appeal. So
Okay.
that's why time is of the essence.
wow, I guess in that case, we have to find out what the status is.
So that's why I've been trying to get information. If I didn't, I called them on Friday and I called them today.
Well, document the calls that you made. Because, you know, thus and such call, and thus and such day. Well, this.
I think the things- If you can help, I mean, in terms of find out, if not, I will go down there in person.
Well, let us know what goes on, and again, I'm not sure what we can do to help, we can do our best. That's all I can say.
Well, I appreciate it.
Anything else from the floor? Go ahead.
I feel like.
It's hard for go to too for new people with gripes. Does anybody have any advice for what to do with the vacant properties at Pratt Conklin? That should be 130, 131 to 200 South Conklin. Yeah, so 131 is the storage building for Carbona's concrete. There's a tree growing out the second floor of it. Part of the facade fell off the other day. A big enough part that it broke the building doors and fell into the basement.
I saw something on the stairwell the other day that looked like something unfortunate had happened. I didn't see any indication of it. All of it went into.
Yeah, so I wrote it up to housing for 311. They haven't looked at it yet.
Well, when you do that, anytime you report anything to 311, and that is the right place to start. Anytime you report anything to 311, make sure you say that. And if you're not getting results, or if you want to put a little bit of help behind it initially, send that report number to Highlandtown @gmail, and I can try to find somebody to lean on a little bit with that. That building has looked almost exactly like that for 15 years and more.
Yeah, I've lived next to it for 8, and it's just getting worse. I mean, there's a big crack in the back cinder block wall now.
Is there?
Like I mentioned, there's a tree growing out of the second floor deck. Like, it's not good. And the other 2 buildings, the Tequila's Bar, which is now just the walk down stairwell in the front, has just become a garbage receptacle. And then the former Eastern Billiards is the sign on it. I've seen the owner's children cleaning stuff out of there twice in 7 years, and I've tried to talk to them and just gotten, whatever, just want to hang on to it and run around.
Yeah,
So I was wondering if there's any advice from anybody here on how to kind of help things out.
I don't think advice for that. My understanding is that the people who own it, they have been approached many times to sell it, and they've just been like, we're not interested. It means I've been paying tax. It's been like that for my understanding.
Yeah,
But it's also not in bad shape, and I don't know that they're doing much to maintain it, but it's also not like falling apart and dropping pieces. So
it's certainly in better shape. Yeah,
the Carvana building is a whole another thing.
Yeah.
I think maybe we should be approaching that. Like you said, with 311 and some other things. I'll try to get down there and look at it and maybe take some pictures of some things and I will, see like those pictures to along with the 311 reports and try to lean on them. But that's also been like for a long time. The Carvana family has been using it as a warehouse space for their business. And so I have no idea how active their business is anymore.
Yes, but his son is involved. Like if you call there, because I've been trying to reach them too. If you call the number, it's his son's voice on the voicemail. So I don't know how active Ivano is in it or not.
Well, I mean, obviously, if it's a hazard to the neighborhood, that's brings it to a whole other level. As far as the bar goes, I would have to look and see what the status is of that, because years ago, the bar hadn't been open for quite some time. And they were still getting alcohol deliveries, and they were still having somebody buy, 1 beer every 2 weeks or something, because all they have to show is activity at the register and some product coming in order to keep a license live. If it goes stagnant for how long is it?
I thought it was 6 months.
I think it's 6 months. If there's no activity for 6 months, then they have to come back and deal with the license again, and there's things they can do. They can, claim a hardship or something and probably, get it active again, but it will go inactive after 6 months if they're not doing something to keep it alive. So previously, we did send a letter, this is 5-6 years ago, to have somebody look at it because they were getting liquor deliveries when there was obviously no active business going on.
sure.
And they managed to show some receipts for, 1 beer every 2 weeks or months or whatever it was. So there's things that they can do and we rather they not do. Frankly, I would like to see it turn back into residential.
Yeah, I mean, or honestly, with the neighborhood, get somebody in there with the food license to open up, like carry out food joint, it would absolutely kill in that neighborhood, in that block.
You think it would?
Yeah, for sure.
It's a neat building.
Yeah.
You know, and a long time it's being done by a guy who was, pretty stand up and seem to take care of it, but years before that, there's a real problem. A credit to the property owner, he actually shut down because there were fights and things outside of it.
So whoever the most recent managers of the property were very clearly involved with the prosecution of that corner also. Like there was a very clear interaction between the prostitutes and the bouncers, and they would go in there. I mean, this was most recently, probably a year ago. But it was not even trying to hide it.
But I mean, that's owned by the Paravanas too. They own both those corners.
Buildings.
Mhm.
Well, let's do a 311 campaign on that too.
Okay.
And if you see alcohol deliveries,
I'm not.
They're actually not.
Okay.
I can give you someone's name.
Yeah, that's great.
if you see alcohol deliveries, that's something to keep an eye out for, because if any alcohol that is sold to them is to be consumed on the property, unless they have a license for carry on, in which case it's gotta be carried out. But when they're getting deliveries and they're not doing any business, that means somebody don't know. And to be honest, they would just sell that license to somebody else. In the house back in residential, I think it'd be a must have.
Yeah, that's.
All right, yeah, and don't apologize, that's what we're here for.
Appreciate it.
Anything else from the board?
Hello, can anyone hear me?
Yeah,
Hey, how you doing? I've been having like a lot of technical difficulties, but my name is Jordan Brown. I work within Councilwoman McCrae's office. How you doing tonight? That's good. I know I put my information in the chat. If anyone needs that, they can definitely reach out to me in that office. I'll just have a few updates from this past month, just in case anyone want to show up at anything. I know we have some budget hearings, and we're pretty much going to be going through the budget through City Hall. Taxpayers Night is going to be May 25th at 6 p.m. It's going to be in person as well, and it's going to be a portal for anyone to provide any written testimony. Last council meeting, she actually introduced a resolution on the state of maternal health in Baltimore City. It's going to be for the purpose of inviting like agencies to discuss the current state of maternal health and any inequities that currently exist in maternal health delivery and outcomes. And I know we're going to have a hearing regarding that resolution later after budget season. But other than that, I'm just happy to be at the meeting. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to go through you guys' YouTube to get everything because I couldn't hear anything for a while. But thank you for listening.
Okay, great, thank you. If there's nothing else, Luke, you're up. Okay. Gonna go up there.
yeah.
Okay, fantastic. I'm Luke Clippinger. I'm one of your 3 members of the House of Delegates, along with Delegate Lewis, who lives that far away from here on Potomac, and Delegate Needles, who lives in Canton. And I also serve with Senator Bill Ferguson, who is the Senate President of the state of Maryland. I have been in the House of Delegates now. This was my 13th session that we just finished back in April. And and I'm the chair of the House Judiciary Committee. We deal with issues related to civil law, criminal law, family law, and juvenile law. So we have a lot of challenging issues that we deal with every year. I just wanted to come by and say hi. I have a couple end of session letters that are helpful if you have difficulty sleeping. But having said that, they also contain a wide range of different information. That covers a lot of what my committee and what the legislature did over the last year. There's one of the letters that is what is the end of session letter is what we call it, that covers a more
wide range of different issues, not just the judiciary committee, but other committees as well. And it gives sort of a broad overview, but if you're interested, I also put together what's called a bench and bar letter, and it goes specifically to the issues that only the judiciary committee dealt with over the last legislative session. I'll mention a couple things quickly, and then I'm happy to take any questions if that's okay. I don't want to go too long here, but this year something I talked about in meetings in the past between community solar. Community solar allows people who can't put solar panels on their house and maybe want to put maybe not a whole solar array, but they maybe just want part of the solar array. They can purchase part of a solar array that is in a different place and have the electricity generated that's generated there charged as a credit against their account wherever they live. So right now, if you put panels on your roof, you get the credit for that. You can credit it against your bill, just like that. With this, you'd be able to benefit from it somewhere else. So somebody who's in an apartment or a row house that's not oriented the appropriate way to point effectively at the sun. This is another way for you to participate in generating renewable energy. It took 11 years to get the bill, to get the whole project made permanent. It started 11 years ago. We created a pilot program for this about 8 years ago, and tomorrow the governor is going to be signing a bill to make this program permanent. So I'm very excited to go to the bill signings tomorrow. There are a wide range of bills that I can talk about with regard to what we did in the Judiciary Committee, some of which had to do with people who've been victims of child sex abuse and their ability to sue those people who may have concealed that abuse and sue them for damages. That's one big piece of legislation that we dealt with, along with many others. I talked to Brian before I came here tonight. And asked what he wanted me to talk about, and said you should talk about 3 minutes and then take questions. So that's where I am. And so if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer them. And if not, if you'd like one or both of the letters, I'm happy to provide you with copies. You really need to rush, but also sensitive to people's time. Question? Really? Not used to coming to an HCA. That's no question. Sure. My email is luke.clippinger, which you can see on the screen there, at state.md.us. Or if you're here in the room, I can give you a copy of my letter, and it's on a copy of the end of session letter. You can pull it off there along with my phone number, and give you that information tonight. Yes, who are you again?
Mark
Where do
Parker.
you work?
I work here as pastor.
Okay.
I know there's been a lot of conversation back and forth, both here in our city and community in Indianapolis around the concept of like local control of the police department, and we had the chance to vote on that on the ballot a cycle or so ago. And then it seemed like there was maybe confusion this year. Can you remind us where that stands and why it matters?
So we passed legislation in 2022. Let's start from the beginning. There was language in the Baltimore City Charter that effectively gave the state of Maryland control over some policy-making decisions of the Baltimore Police Department. It has been there because it calls the Baltimore Police Department a state agency. The budget for the Baltimore Police Department is determined by the city council. Where that money gets spent, the commissioner is picked by the mayor of the city of Baltimore. But for purposes of effectively the charter and under state law, it's considered a state agency. So in the 22 session, there had to be a constitutional amendment passed to change it from being to say it's not a state agency, it's a city agency. It would effectively revert the agency effectively just for some policy-based issues back to the city. However, after that was passed, it was determined by the city solicitor's office that it did not, that what was passed did not actually address all of the issues under city law that have to be addressed to formally not just have the state give it away, but have the city accept it. And so there was legislation in this last session that we passed one version that would have completed effectively completed the transaction. We passed that in my committee, in the House Judiciary Committee, and we passed it out of the House. It did not pass out of the Senate. That would have just closed the circuit. I believe during and I know during the legislative session, I think the mayor's office expressed some concern that they needed more time to be able to be ready to accept it as a city agency. I think many of us in the House felt like this was not as challenging as that, but having said that, because the bill wasn't passed, we're now in an interesting legal conundrum where they're effectively on policy issues, not in spending money, anything like that. They can hire and fire people, they can do all of that, but in changing some issues related to the size of districts, potentially, of police districts. They couldn't act on those things because right now, depending on, I think the city solicitor's opinion, it's not clear whether the city has the authority to act right this second, but it's clear that the state doesn't have the ability to act. So right now, nobody can do anything.
Thanks.
If you're looking for continuing legal education credit, sign your paper. You can go to law school on that one issue. If you really wanted to do that, which, yeah, doesn't. Are there any other questions? Okay, if you need reading material, then I have some. Happy to give you one or both of the letters. I'll walk back through the middle if you'd like one. Thanks very much. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, sure. Just one more vote.
Yeah.
All right.
You,
Shakira and Betsy.
That's the general one. You want to do it?
no, I'm just. When I checked into it before, it's generally been caught into the average guy has a solar panels.
I can talk to you about it. That's the second.
Thank you. Thank you, sorry.
Sounds.
Next.
Yeah.
Federal grants and state grants for 12,000. So we got.
Good evening. How are you tonight?
$8,000 discount. I mean, that's, I was. Yeah, we're taxpayers. No wonder I'm retired and have to take it from that.
Oh. Hello, everyone. My name is Shakia Colbert. I work for Care First Blue Cross Blue Shield. The Care First Engagement Center is located at 1501 South Clinton Street. Care First opened their doors up on November 7th to provide health and wellness to the entire community. The good thing about our program is that you do not need Care First insurance to participate in any of our activities. We want to make sure that everyone is living a happy and healthier life. So at the Care First Engagement Center, we provide in-person customer support. So if you have Care First insurance and you need assistance, no longer do you have to wait for the phone to get support anymore. You can walk right into our office. We also have sales representatives to help you pick the best plan for you. We do a lot of community engagement and we provide care as well. So we have something called Close-Knit inside of our office as well. And I can give you some more information about that too. But if you have questions about your billing, your benefits claims, you can actually come and see someone in person. For sales, Open enrollment is usually in January for some people. If you're looking to enroll into like Medicare, you can certainly get assistance with that as well. The best part about Care First is that we're offering you, free health education and fitness classes. So Monday through Tuesday, we do health education classes, whether it's the limited diabetes, Medicare Be Simple, hypertension 101, and stress relief classes. On Tuesdays now, starting in June, we'll have something called Stretch and Balance, where you can come out and get free stretch and balance classes at no cost to you, and you do not need Care First insurance to participate. On Wednesdays, we call it Volleyball Wednesdays, which is my favorite. Starting at 8:30 a.m. to 9:15, you can do so it's free for all, you don't need Care First anymore. And from 12 to 12:30, you can have your lunch with us, because we're doing Pilates. So the good thing is, you don't need a yoga mat, call me up and say, I'm looking at it. And come out there, the community that every Wednesday, they're my girls. They come out, they enjoy the live team. And then we also have from 6 to 7 p.m. a prenatal fitness class. If you know anyone that's pregnant, you're like the time and like from 6 to 7 p.m. we make sure that we have free fitness classes for pregnant women. Is there anyone in the room that has Care First today? Okay, great. All right, so if you ever have any questions, that teaching here with me tonight as well. You can come and be back here on myself, and we can have your experts. So whatever you need, we'll get it done for you, right from there, right from the office about. I wanted to tell you all a little bit more about our programming, because we have some good things coming up in the community. In the month of June, I'm gonna skip to June because June is really hot. We have these things going on in May as well, that I put in your package that you handed out. So in June, we have Medicare Monday. So if you're over 65, and you need assistance with Medicare, because a lot of people have like original Medicare, but if you need more information in regards to Medicare, we have a skills round with we can actually walk you through so you can understand the cost of Medicare and things that you can be prepared for. On Tuesdays, again, we have Stretch and Balance. It's 12 to 3. I'm sorry, it's 12 to 12:30. So if you're working from home, you can take your lunch with us. Coming up in June on Wednesday, it's called Make Your Own Smoothie. So we're trying to find a way to have people engaged. You're coming to Zoom in the morning, you're coming to Pilates at lunch. In between, I'm gonna make sure you go make your own smoothie. So just a way to get people out and engaged. For the community, we have the Latino Economic Development Center that's coming to the Engagement Center, and that's going to be on Thursday, June 1st. The American Red Cross, we're having a blood drive, which is, I never knew how important it was to give blood. You know, a lot of people strongly believe in giving blood, and I see the reason why. One donation can save up to 4 lives. So just think about it when you're looking to give blood. And also we have a CPR training. So let's we did panel training. Can you imagine being here today and like that how to baby? So we're trying to give you skills, life-saving skills, for you to be able to think about it is all free and being no Care First. Now my baby is the one that's not the parent. So I do a lot of that is a lot of community from the visitor. And a lot of them are talking about how I'm thinking about more of the department, I've been in therapy, and one of the concerns was like their village. And going walking around, going running to get exercise. And I came up with I wanted to in place. That would be how it's going June 13th from 5 to 6 p.m. I'm going to provide for breakfast and parking is for you. Anytime you come out to the engagement, you don't have to worry about parking. You don't have to worry about you welcome everyone in the community. If you ever have questions about anything, You can feel free to reach me via email. I'm always open. My name is Shakia. My email is Shakia, that's SHAKIA.Colbert, COLBERT @carefirst.com. I'm happy to answer any questions. Does anyone have any questions for me today? Ah, come on, I know you got one question. No questions?
I'm particularly interested in the self-defense classes and litigation and these other things that you know.
Okay.
Wait, you might find one there. So, we have these things. Links on our website, you can send it to me. We can, it is on our social media. I have this, we have that's us. And blood drives, some of those things that always say. Well, we can put it on our Facebook page or say it's happening.
I really appreciate it. And one more thing, is we're working on, we're trying to help deal with this. So we have one that's for diverse. You care for the investigation that you're met. So you gotta have any strong transportation. Bring out to us that you can find out. She is not to you for that information, like, we're also very good for you, we want to volunteer. So I think it's pretty hard to yes. What I think is, I was looking at the internet very extra. So I don't know, I like to. I have a meeting engagement and it's to 25 so if you're going to meet today, it's going to support everyone to be in the everyone welcome. You can reach out to me as well. I can remove the team to make sure that that's for you for the work. We're going about children, groups, like we're going to get into that. It's not hard to do this together. I don't know. Now we're trying to pull in together. Really just minimize people to the court. And women too, so I'm looking at my book clubs, then you have to Brian was there. Thank you for your.
Nice. Well, that is. I think, oh, it's almost 8 o'clock. We almost nailed it with the timing, so we're generally 7 to 8. Times we run long. So that is all for tonight, but as I said to the new people, if you ever need anything at all, you can reach me at Highlandtown224@gmail and put something in the header so I can find it for you. Weeks later. Trying to remember what it was about,
Yeah,
so I can try to find things that way, but
I mean, it's two people who should know the best. Being
appreciate
Mark the French.
you folks.
And for two people who know the best, being Mark the French is back in it.
Thank
They're the
you.
ones that resilient staff on the MTA. They're the ones who effectively on that meeting. So if anybody knows what's going on. Hey, Sam. Hi, remind me the Bono. Remind me the northeast corner address again.
It should be 131.
That's 131.
Yeah.
All right.
We all should, right?
131.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I like a show.
I'm sorry, the Marvin.
Yeah. So yeah, it would be really, really great if any of the three of them would show any sign of progress ever. There was an accident over there too the other day, right? Didn't a car, it was a pretty nasty accident.
I don't know. I got to work and saw.